Half-Life 2 speedrunners can go from arriving in City 17 to destroying the Citadel in just over 40 minutes. This is while skipping as much of the game as possible, with the only goal being to reach the end, also known as any percent. Getting a competitive time is tough to say the least, and it requires an insane amount of practice. Since speedrunning any percent can get old and repetitive, runners will try to go for different in-game goals. They might impose extra rules on themselves as a challenge, or just do something silly. In this video, we'll look at what other ways there are to speedrun Half-Life 2. Cutsceneless Half-Life 1 movement fun percent. Yes, that's one category. Cutsceneless is a mod that removes cutscenes, which I'm sure you could figure out. Half-Life 1 movement is a mod that makes you move as if you're playing Half-Life 1, so the fastest way to get around is standard bunny hopping. Fun percent means you can't use the strategy called void clipping, which involves saving and loading the game many times. The result is a category which isn't very similar to Half-Life 2, but is still interesting to run. Touching any physics prop can easily send you flying. One of the few Half-Life 2 strats that still exists in this run is quick clipping, where you manipulate the airboat to break the player's physics, enabling you to jump through many obstacles in the game simply by touching a physics prop. This is currently by far the most popular Half-Life 2 category. The world record is 31 minutes, 56 seconds, held by Prolert. Single segment. This category bans loading any saves. This makes some strategies impossible and makes others very risky to try. Saving and instantly loading the game, known as save load buffering, is a strat that can have many unintended effects. It can be used to travel through objects or empty space outside of a level's boundaries. This is obviously not allowed in single segment, meaning that the real time of the run is much closer to the in-game time. Even if you die, you are not allowed to load a save. If you die, the run dies. The single segment world record is 1 hour, 18 minutes, 56 seconds, held by Wayzone. It could be much lower if runners were willing to take more risk, but there's already so much risk of a run dying instantly that people just aren't interested in trying. To put it into perspective, the any percent world record is nearly half the time. Softlock percent. In this category, you try to get yourself stuck as soon as possible, which is way easier than you think it is. Runners have found 6 ways to softlock in the first level alone. These are: jump through this door before it closes, done in 54 seconds. Stand in this spot to prevent this door from opening, done in 42 seconds. Prop climb to the backside of Breen's giant screen, done in 38 seconds. There's an invisible pit in this area of the map. Once you're in it, you can't jump back out. The fastest pit entry ever was 30 seconds. Save load buffering can be used to slowly sink yourself into the ground in 2 seconds. And finally, if you save load buffer at the exact moment the game tries to teleport you into the train car, it won't teleport you, leaving you alone with G-Man in an empty black box. The moment that you save load buffer at is also the point where the timer begins. So the final time with this strategy is 1 millisecond, and first place is a 4-way tie, backwards. Like Cutsceneless, Backwards uses modified maps to play the game in reverse. You start at the Citadel and go all the way back to the train station. Backwards also removes cutscenes, since they would no longer make sense, and modifies some other aspects of levels to make it possible to play them in reverse at all. The world record for this category is 40 minutes 46 seconds, held by Fleek, but according to him it could go much lower. Backwards' forward counterpart, Cutsceneless Fun Percent, is several minutes faster with a time of 32 minutes 21 seconds, held by Malta Miller. Technically not cheating, or TNC percent. Half-Life 2 comes with a developer console that allows you to do basically any cheat you can think of, even fly around freely or become invulnerable. Such commands are cheat protected, meaning you have to put svcheats1 in the console before the game allows you to use them. Obviously, svcheats1 cannot be allowed in speedruns. However, there are some other commands that are not cheat protected but still really cannot be allowed in speedruns, like creating whatever object you want. To submit a run to the leaderboards, you can only use commands that are available in the controls menu, and a select few that are allowed for good reason. TNC% allows you to use all commands, except for cheat protected ones and commands that directly change the level being played. Technically, you're not cheating. The oldest TNC run on speedrun.com is 44 minutes 7 seconds by Centaurium. He basically did a regular run, but just deleted any objects that got in his way. MadDavid123 did a run in 15 minutes 24 seconds, his main strategy being to teleport to wherever his crosshair was pointed. Smiley did a run in 23 seconds by directly teleporting into the level load zones on every map. The world record strategy, however, really impresses me as somebody who's done a lot of technical work in the source engine. The first command entered creates an invisible object called a point client command. This object is capable of making the game execute console commands. The next command targets another invisible object called a logic relay. The specific one that's being targeted is activated when the G-Man cutscene ends, and is what ultimately is responsible for the timer beginning. The command tells the logic relay that, when it's activated, it should tell the point client command that was just made to execute a third and fourth command. The second command ensures that the ones after it are executed right as the timer starts, but it also causes the third command to act in a way that's desirable. If the third command was executed directly by the runner, it simply wouldn't work, and I'm not sure why. The third command makes a save with the name of the last level of the game, followed by copy map. Copy map activates a hidden feature in the game that alters the save to be on a level with a name matching the name of the save file. By making the save file's name match the map file's name, there is suddenly a valid save on the final level. The fourth command is obvious: load the save. The runner is now on the final level, with the clock only now beginning to move. Now a few more commands are used to force the level scripting to occur rapidly. Here's what it all looks like. "16 seconds, 335 milliseconds. This time was first achieved by 2838 and has since been tied by two other runners. Jumpless. As the name implies, you can't jump in this category. There are some obstacles in Half-Life 2 that encourage you to jump, but they can all be overcome with other means. What really sets this category apart though is that you can no longer use Half-Life 2's movement tech, you just have to run everywhere. Because of that, the airboat has to be used for all of Water Hazard. Jumpless still lets you use glitches, including save deletion, a strategy where you manipulate saves to make the game restart the level in its default state, which means you get full health and some supplies, regardless of what happened on previous levels, and if appropriate, the buggy will also spawn. Thanks to save deletion, the buggy is used on and off during the run, at some points being abandoned since running is faster, but often reappearing. The world record for this category is 2 hours, 28 minutes, and 12 seconds held by Elgist. You may be surprised to find out that Glitchless runs are actually faster, and that's partly because regular jumping gives you a small speed boost. Other than that, it's really not too different from Jumpless. The airboat is used all the way through Water Hazard. The buggy is used in the start of Highway 17, but is quickly abandoned. Glitchless does not allow save deletion, but you are still allowed to restart the game from the beginning of a chapter if you've reached that point, so the buggy does briefly reappear in sand traps. Both Jumpless and Glitchless rely significantly on wall strafing, which is where you brush up against a wall to run faster. The Glitchless world record is 2 hours, 12 minutes, 27 seconds, held by 2838. 100%. This category requires you to get every achievement. The 100% world record for Half-Life 2 is 3 hours, 30 minutes, 6 seconds, held by Lots of S.
Is that everything?
No!
You need me.
Did it! Come on, Gordon. We've got to get out of here. Maybe we still have...
Immediately after this, he also claimed the 100% world record for Episode 1 with a time of 1 hour, 19 minutes, and 54 seconds.
Yay.
In the same sitting, he also did a 100% run of Episode 2 with a time of 2 hours, 34 minutes, and 45 seconds. Not a world record, but it did mean he completed all 3 games to 100% in a time of 7 hours, 35 minutes, and 43 seconds. This is including load times and pauses he took between each game. Half-Life 2's 100% is slowed down by frequent stops needed to complete Lambda Locator, where you have to find 45 designated supply caches hidden throughout the game. Ravenholm is very slow because the gravity gun is the only weapon you can use, as required by the achievement Zombie Chopper. Typically, Ravenholm involves multiple damage boosts with hand grenades and SMG grenades. This is the only speedrun which is currently a world record that enters Town 3, the level where you get scolded by Grigori for sucking at religion.
Did I not tell you to seek the church?
Or Coast 8, the level where you go under a bridge. Lots of S said he didn't have any specific reason to go on either map, he just wanted to play the game in a relatively straightforward way. The achievement Bug Hunt requires that 50 Combine soldiers are killed by antlions, so the bug bait is put to good use in this run. Did you know that only 67% of players completed Malcontent, meaning 1/3 of all players never met Alex? Half-Life 2 done Portal. This is really a Portal mod that uses the Half-Life 2 levels. The ability to use portals takes away the need for many of Half-Life 2's harder strategies, while honestly being pretty fun to watch. The glitches that are possible with portals are really amazing, and I'm always blown away whenever I watch a Portal speedrun. The world record is 39 minutes 43 seconds, held by Connor Ace. When that run was played back in 2017, it was 20 minutes faster than the then fastest run from any main category. It is still 1 minute faster than any current run from a main category. No one has run this category in a very long time, but it was recently announced that a segmented run of this category is in the works, so it may soon become popular again. The last category I want to talk about is Pacifist, where you can't kill anyone. This category isn't on speedrun.com leaderboards due to a lack of interest, and there don't seem to be any speedruns of it on YouTube. Speedrunning Pacifist % would not be very difficult for someone who already speedruns the game. In the current old engine scripted world record, only 8 enemies are killed, and none of them were strictly necessary. It's not out of the question that a speedrunner has already done a full Pacifist run, but wasn't even trying to. The only person I know of who did a true Pacifist % run of Half-Life 2 is a YouTuber named Spectre, and he did use some speedrun glitches. There are 2 issues preventing a Pacifist glitchless run. At the entrance to Nova Prospect, you're forced at minimum to kill one gunship and leave the other gunship on low health, at which point the boiler machine blocking your path will explode, allowing you to progress. The other problem is at the end of Follow Freeman, where you have to kill 2 Striders. Pacifist % is not possible at all in episode 1 and 2 as there are multiple mandatory kills.